Welcome to Here to Be Human, a multi-dimensional soul. This is not just a podcast, it's a remembering. A space where soul meets skin and the sacred meets the messy. Where spirit is not something you escape into, it's something you embody here in this beautiful, chaotic, breathtaking human life. Each episode is a living transmission, a weaving of energy, truth, reflection, and remembrance, with questions for your soul, messages from beyond, and invitations to meet yourself in ways you've never dared to before. Whether you're walking through shadow or starlight, you belong here. I am Julie, your guide, your mirror, your voice in the void. This is Here to Be Human, and you are right on time. You are not behind. You didn't miss your moment. There is no timeline you're meant to be keeping up with except your soul's. This is Here to Be Human, a multidimensional soul, and this is episode 10, Time, Choice, and the Sacred Spiral, remembering you are not late. So welcome to today's podcast. And to begin, let's look at a reflection prompt for us to kind of get into. So your question, to just take a moment to breathe in and to kind of let it land, is where in your life do you feel like you're late? And what stories have you told yourself about where you should be by now? And just breathe into these questions, just open and exhale the pressure out. Where in your life do you feel like you're late? And what stories have you told yourself about where you should be by now? Now you can always come back to this prompt and journal along or press pause if you are journaling a lot of stuff from these questions. And again, just breathe for me as we move into segment 1. Linear time versus spiral time. So we live in a culture obsessed with linear time, milestones, deadlines, the constant chase to catch up. But the soul doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in spirals. And you would have heard me speak into this throughout some of these podcast episodes. It returns, it deepens, it revisits old patterns, not to punish you, but to integrate more truth. The spiral is sacred. It teaches you that life unfolds in loops, not ladders. And what feels like going backward is often returning with greater awareness. So I ask you maybe to journal this or to think about this at a later stage, writing down from your own experience, where have you had moments where you thought you were falling behind? And just let that story flow, let that narrative flow. And you can see how it's shaped you up until this point and where you can let that narrative go. So let's open up to what Spirit wants to reveal about this. Excuse me. So our first question to Spirit is, what do you want us to understand about divine timing and the spiral nature of growth? So what do you want us to understand about divine timing and the spiral nature of growth? And I think this is a really important question because you would have heard a lot of people talk about, in divine timing and all this type of stuff. So let's kind of like see what actually comes up when we dissect this question. So give me a moment. Okay. So divine timing and that spiral nature of growth are one in the same. They're intertwined. So, divine timing only happens, or what it really means is when the pieces of the puzzle are coming together, that then the universe allows you to move to the next stage, or to allow you to take that next step. Like I mentioned in the previous podcast episode about the spiral, the steps of the spiral that take us to the ether, from here to the universe, the divine, that connection point. So, divine timing and that spiral nature of growth are one in the same. And just like a chess piece, when you move the chess piece, that is one part of the puzzle. And the more that we do the work that everyone you would have heard lots of people talk about it. And the work really means that you are consistently being aware of things that either are working for you, and also being aware of the things that are not working for you. Now, this can come in the form of like lessons, situations, people, or it could just be that could be coming through as in like your thought patterns, your belief systems, whether that is from childhood, whether that's environmental, or whatever the case may be for you. So that is doing the work. It's kind of, sometimes we're not aware of the thing that we need. And this is where we may go to seek out wise counsel, whether that's holistic therapist, whether that's a GP, a psychologist, a kinesiologist, whatever it is for you, a psychic, a medium. So what tends to happen is you seek out what you don't know in order to gain a deeper understanding of the starting point. And once you have the starting point, then you begin to learn, okay, so these are the steps, or this is the work that I need to be focused on in order for me to either heal a part of my journey, or possibly to understand the past in order to help shape my future. And so when we're talking about this divine timing and it working or being the same as that spiral nature of growth, the more that you grow, the more that you allow yourself that natural tendency to, almost like that childlike tendency to seek, to search, to want answers, to experience life. That is that growth. And as you're moving through that growth, that divine timing steps in almost at the perfect time to either redirect you, to give you clarity around something, to help you see the bigger picture, or to give you certain insights that will shape your next step forward. That's really what it's coming about. So when someone says to you, say, for example, you get a reading from someone, or you're in a conversation and someone goes, oh yeah, it'll happen in divine timing. That doesn't mean that you take a step back and let the universe like control everything. That's your cue to be like, okay, I need to continue on with my growth. I need to continue on with what I do know right now, what I can work on right now, and what I can control for myself. And what will end up happening is, when you least expect it, is that divine timing, because divine timing is working with the spiral nature of growth. It's one in the same. Like those chess pieces, like a puzzle piece, it's like, oh, as I'm working on this, like, oh, I've discovered this. Boom, something new comes in, divine timing. But it's because you've created this, puzzle, you fix the puzzle, or you've kind of like found the piece and all that type of stuff. That's kind of what divine timing is. It's not this elusive thing that we don't know about. We just don't necessarily know the timing of it, as in like, us as humans are like, well, we run on a clock, it's 24 hours, or we run on dates, today's this day, and in 5 days' time, it'll be this day. So divine timing just means that as you move, as you as a human move, because as you move, it can be unpredictable. Like, yes, when you're going to wake up, but you never know what life's going to throw at you. So it's not like your day is completely predictable every second, every minute of it. And so that's that divine timing. And so as you are naturally moving through that spiral of growth, divine timing is intercepting and working with you. It's just that our conscious mind would love to lock in what divine timing actually is, but your soul is working with the divine timing. So when it lands, it does feel like it's a surprise. It does feel like, a blessing or a miracle has occurred, but ultimately you're the one that is actually doing the work for this divine timing aspect to have landed for you here in the 3D world. So hopefully that answers that question. Well, that's really interesting. Okay, so our next question to Spirit is, what truth do we forget when we measure our lives against someone else's pace? Ooh, I like this. What truth do we forget when we measure our lives against someone else's pace? The truth as to why you are here, ultimately. You forget that. When you start to go at someone else's pace, live your life against, whether it's someone that you know, aspire to become, or whether it's a sibling or a friend or a rival, whatever you wanted to call it, when you're living against someone else's pace, like if you're measuring your truth, or what truth we forget when we measure our lives against someone else's pace, what ends up happening is you forget why you are here because you're so consumed about what someone else is doing or what someone else is expecting you to be doing or where you should be at or what your life should look like. And this can be as simple as, your parents saying, "Oh, you should be married by now, or you should have kids by now, or you should be owning your own home by now, or you should have finished your degree by now." Whatever it is, that's someone else asking you to live at their own pace. And it's interesting, their own pace is just an expectation that they have on you. That doesn't mean that they achieved it at the pace that they're asking you to achieve your life milestone, so to speak. Yeah. And so I think it's really important in order to not forget why you came here, meaning, if you can't do it against someone else's pace, you kind of shortchange yourself on your growth. I mean, your lessons are yours to learn and to move through life with. And your experiences are unique to you. Yes, we can have, as a collective, we can all experience very similar things, but no one person can ever fully understand what someone else went through because it's two different people. So even though we can empathize or sympathize, I guess, with the other person to be like, yes, I can understand what you have gone through. I've gone through something similar. You're never going to fully 100% feel into what they actually went through, and you can't compare it to yours, but you can come together in order to speak your truths and to share stories and offer each other comfort and guidance and whatnot. But if you are consistently measuring your life against someone else's pace, then you will forget why you're here. And if you forget why you're here, eventually the universe will kind of slap you around a little bit, create a few tower moments, and you'll be like, whoops, shit, I got to get back onto my own path. Always happens. You will always be given moments of reality checks for yourself to be like, hang on a moment, this isn't what I want to do. This isn't where I wanted to go. And so you have this moment of recalibration that you can start to do it. You can start to do life at your own pace. And anyone who tries to force you to do it at their own pace or what they think it should be based on society or their own experience, just use your discernment about what you wish to share with people about your journey, because everyone's going to have an opinion about what you're doing wrong or what you should be doing next. And the only person that understands the journey that they're on is the person themselves. So I think it's important. Try to follow your own frequency and the frequency of the divine that you are connecting with. And you will always move at the pace that serves you best. And sometimes, from an outsider's point of view, could your pace be a bit faster? Yeah, possibly. But it just means that maybe you haven't met the right mentors or the right facilitators that are on your path based on the pace that you're going. Like if you were rushing, then maybe you would not miss this amazing mentor that would come into your life, that, or even a person that becomes a catalyst that sparks something within you that sets you into a whole new direction. That's why it's important. Your own pace is the key here. So as we now move on to segment 2, so this is choice is the anchor. Alrighty. So in spiral time, which is what we've been talking about, there is no late, only choice and only alignment. And every conscious choice is a declaration of presence. There's no race, no catch up, only rhythm. The pulse of your soul aligning to the now. Your power isn't in controlling time. It's in responding to it with awareness. So I ask you here, from your own memory, try and notice where the biggest shifts may have happened when you slowed down. So again, this is for something that you can do at a later date, is just from memory, write down anything that you've noticed where the biggest shifts have happened in your life when you have slowed down. So let's invite Spirit to speak into that stillness now. So our first prompt to Spirit, or our first question to Spirit, is how can we learn to trust the pauses without rushing to feel them? This is a good one because sometimes it's not that we're actively trying to rush. Sometimes it's, life is happening and we know that we're moving through something really quickly, but we're not sure, like we don't know how to slow it down. Does that make sense? Or to trust these pauses. Sometimes we're in autopilot. So one of the ways to trust the pauses is to know that stillness can come, and these pauses can come not because you have actively said, oh, I need to pause because I feel like I'm rushing. A lot of the times this moment of stillness or this pause is because you're waiting to hear back from someone, or you can't move forward on this next thing because there's a missing piece and you just can't grab it right now. Okay. So whatever is creating this pause, and sometimes it can even be exhaustion, like the pause and this stillness can just be like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I just need to rest. Or possibly if you work for yourself, maybe it could be, oh, I'm not really busy this week, like my diary isn't full, and you start to try and fill it with like, oh, maybe I'll do this special, or maybe I'll do that, whatever the case may be. Sometimes when there's absolutely nothing going on that is wrong in the world, in your world, and you have this pause moment, this stillness, all it's asking you to do is actually take a breather, forget about what it is you're focusing on in that moment, and focus on something else. And the moment you trust those pauses and take that rest if you're exhausted, step away from wanting to know the answer on something that you're waiting for someone to kind of email you back or call you back on. Just breathe and realize that those pauses are the only thing that's going to give you a moment to actually see where you're at, and if you still want to move forward on it. That's what the pause gives you. It's not like if you're waiting for an email or a response from someone, that lag time from when you asked the question to when they said they were going to come back to you, that that moment, which could be like hours, could be days, could be like a week or two, in that moment, life will move fairly quickly. And what might happen is another opportunity presents itself to you that's way more in alignment with where you're wanting to go. And so, hearing back from that person about what their opportunity is might just be like you don't care anymore because something has come in that is exactly what you want. And what that pause and that time period will give you a moment to reflect, to realize and question, like, why am I rushing this? Like, why do I need to do this? And you'll know from experience, like, I don't know, I've done this myself, is when you rush into something, or you're waiting to kind of you're like, oh, I really want this to work, and then someone comes back and there hasn't been that pause because your brain's like, well, it's fried, it's like, yeah, I want to do this, and they come back and they're like, yes, let's do it, here's my offer to you, and you just take it, you're like, yes, 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 because this is what I've been looking for, and then you realize later, actually, it's not a really good offer. It's maybe it's what I wanted, but nothing's really coming from it, or it's not really in alignment with where I want to be. And how you will know this is that there'll be problems along the way. So the universe will always ask us to pause, or they'll create moments of stillness. So don't try and rush to fill them with more noise or trying to control the narrative to get the answer that you want. Because when you pause for a moment or allow that space just to be as it is, you'll come back with more confidence, more strength, more courage, more clarity about what your next step should be that's more in alignment with where you are. And then when that, I guess, offer comes through, if it is in alignment with you, you can negotiate the terms. You can negotiate something that is of an equal give and take between you and the other person, because you've had a moment to breathe. You've had a moment to realize your worth and what it is that you really want out of this particular situation. And this goes for everything. It goes for like not just job stuff, it goes for family, whether you've had an argument with like a sibling, whether you're taking your relationship to the next stage. So having these moments of pause gives you the opportunity to understand what your learnings have been up until this point and what you can bring to the table, and what it is that you need. That's really important. So, our next question to Spirit is, what is the energetic gift of choosing slowly and intentionally? And I really feel the energetic gift of this is you being one, it's clarity. Yeah, totally. You'll get clarity. But with clarity, what it does is it allows you almost like this signal between you and the universe on what you want to now co-create. That's the energetic gift that you get, that now all of a sudden you are a little bit more clearer about where you're going. You become more intentional about how you want to show up for yourself. You become intentional about what it is that you're wanting to create. And what that does is allows you to co-create with the universe, manifest what it is that you're wanting to bring into your space, and being able to magnetize your energetic field to attract that which you want into your life. So that is the energetic gift that I feel that we get when we are slowing things down. We're really intentional about where we're wanting to be, where we're wanting to go, and is this next step the right thing for us? If it's not, lovingly you release it and you move on to the direction that you're wanting to go. So that's really that energetic gift that we get, which I think for a lot of people, we see lots of stuff out there about like, how do we magnetize ourselves? How do we manifest this? And, there's all that stuff out there that we see, lots of courses and things of that nature, which are great. But if you don't slow down and are not intentional, then how can you manifest out of a place of fear? How can you attract out of a place of illusion? And how can you attract that which you want to bring into your life or magnetize it into your life if you haven't given it space to breathe? So I invite you for this next reflection point to either journal or sit with this just in this moment and see how it lands for you. And just take a breath in and out. And the question is, what aligned choice are you ready to make today? Even if it doesn't look on time to the world. So sit with that for a moment, let it breathe. What aligned choice are you ready to make today, even if it doesn't look on time to the world? And as we move on to our next section, your life is not off path. Here we go. So every detour taught you something. Every delay rewired something. Every reroute led you closer to truth. Your timeline isn't broken, it's bespoke. Even the pauses and the breakdowns were part of the sacred spiral returning you home. You are not behind, you are arriving again and again. So we have our question, our last question to Spirit. What does Spirit want us to remember when we believe we've fallen behind? Rightio. So you can sit and channel this, or you can come back to this later. So let's have a look. What does Spirit want us to remember when we believe we've fallen behind? Oh, that you are right on time. So when you feel like you have fallen behind, which is more of a social construct or based on fears and things of that nature, it is actually telling you that you are on time. You are meant to, at times, take pauses, take a step back. So certain things are just not meant to work out. That doesn't mean that you've fallen behind. That means that you are right on time. Where you are currently at is where you are meant to be. As I was saying before, sometimes when, and I can't remember if I said this today or if I said it in an earlier podcast because I never remember what comes out of my mouth when I'm like channeling and doing this stuff. When you give yourself a moment, you allow yourself opportunities, situations, or people to cross your path that could give you the greatest inspiration to the thing that you've been sitting with and wanting a lot of clarity on. And that's why I feel that we have time when we feel that we've fallen behind, that is now the gift of time. Spirit has said, we're going to give you more time because you're right on time. And so in a human perspective, we are given more time to reflect, to see what's coming up, to understand the lay of the land. But ultimately, you're right on time because that's meant to happen, because certain things are meant to come into your consciousness, whether that's your own thoughts, something that you read, you hear, people, old stories, old narratives that kind of somehow have popped up for you to review, a dream even. So you have never fallen behind. You are right on time. And any part of you where you feel that there is a delay, it's the universe's way of creating stillness in order for you to see, hear, or feel your next right step. And so your reflection point here is, where can you begin to see perfection in the timing of what once felt delayed? So again, you can do this at a later stage, or you can just press pause and do it now, or just breathe into whatever comes through your first instinct, the first feeling or question that pops into your mind. Where can you begin to see perfection in the timing of what once felt delayed? So now, as we move on to our ritual, it's called I Am Right on Time. So I'm going to get you to sit with one hand on your chest and one on your lower belly. And just breathe slowly for me until your body softens into presence. And just speak out loud or to yourself in your mind. I release the pressure to be further ahead. I trust the spiral I am walking. I do not need to rush my becoming. Even in stillness, I am moving. I am right on time. Let each phrase ripple through your body. And as you're doing so, I invite you to reflect in this moment, in this stillness. Where are you being invited to trust the timing of your life? Without force, without urgency. And remember, your soul is not in a hurry. There is no race, only presence and the spiral calling you home. Our next episode is all about ancestral echoes, so healing the lineage within you. So until then, let time be your ally, let slowness be sacred, and remember, you are not late. Thank you for being here fully. If today's episode stirred something in you, if you have a follow-up question, a reflection you'd like to share, or a way this conversation aligned with where you are right now, I'd love to hear from you. And if there are specific questions you'd like me to ask Spirit in future episodes based on what's coming up for you, send me a direct message at here.to.be.human.podcast on the Instagram page. Remember, your voice, your questions, your presence, they're part of this journey too. And if you'd like to connect with me more deeply, you'll find everything, sessions, programs, and updates over at www.moderndayMedium.com.au or on my Instagram page, which is at modern.day.medium. This is your invitation. This is the return. And this is what it means to be human. So until next time, stay with yourself, stay with your soul, and keep choosing this sacred, messy, and miraculous life.